my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody calm down.
Hello and welcome back to the Haunt Line, the show dedicated to SoCal haunts and events. Not only do we have official confirmation that Horror Nights Hollywood is happening this year, but we also have our very first maze announcement. So let's break down the details. Well, we now know that Horror Nights Hollywood is going to run from September 9th through October 31st on select nights. However, we don't have tickets yet, which is very interesting. If you go on the website, they'll say more information is coming soon, but they also kind of hint at like a daytime, nighttime package, which is interesting as well. They've done it in the past, but yeah, no tickets yet. We'll keep you all posted on when the tickets drop, but I would assume you can probably expect them in the next couple of weeks here. I don't think they're going to wait too long for that. And the big question is, will frequent fear passes make a return? God, I hope they do, because I've been a frequent Fear Pass member for the past couple of seasons, and let me tell you, it is awesome. So, Universal, bring it back, please. It's also interesting to note that this year, Halloween, October 31st, is going to be on a Sunday. So that could officially be the last night of the run. Now, in the past, Halloween Horror Nights has added nights to their run. I don't know if they're going to go into November this year, because that would be pretty deep into November. They have, in the past, at times, added another weekend. So we'll see what happens. I'm really hoping they do, because there's nothing like going to a haunt event after Halloween proper. It's just a nice way to seal everything up. So we'll see what happens there. It's now also officially confirmed that we are sharing the theme with our friends over at the East Coast, which is Never Go Alone. Now, they've done this in the past couple of years. In fact, they kind of share, like last year, is very 80s inspired, very video game-esque. So they're doing that again this year, which is pretty interesting. And also, the website specifically notes that there will be scare zones and live entertainment. I know in our last video, we kind of talked about the HN Nightmares map, the speculation map, and how that speculated perhaps at the time being there being no shows and no scare zones. However, with the website kind of officially saying it, could that mean that we are getting the return of the Jabberwockies? And also, what scare zones might we get? I have a feeling we may even just see a repeat of last season's scare zones, which I honestly wouldn't mind at all. That would definitely save them a buck or two. And it is also very interesting to note that there is no mention at all of the Terror Tram. So I don't know if they're saving that maybe for down the line, or if they're not going to have the Terror Tram at all this year. If you recall, there was a survey that went out that kind of mentioned the Terror Tram as being part of the 2021 lineup. So maybe that's not happening after all. And if it doesn't happen this season, my big question is, are we ever going to see it come back? Because it's been going pretty strong for the last couple of years. So who knows what's going to happen there. And lastly, the internet was ablaze with panic after someone realized that the website only lists or only has 4 slots reserved for mazes for this season. That led a lot of people to speculate that we're only getting 4 mazes this year instead of the rumored 6 or 7 that we're going to have, depending if you count The Walking Dead, which I never do. But anyways, so yeah, everyone was panicking about that. However, I have reason to believe that shouldn't be read into too much. For starters, there are 5 mazes that are very visibly being constructed in the park right now. 5 of them. So that's already more mazes than there are slots on the website. Websites always change, people. It happens. But also, unless we start seeing any of those mazes in the park start to get demolished, I think it's safe to say that we're not going to have only 4 mazes. That would be really, really weird. Also, John Murdy on Twitter confirmed that they are using Soundstage 29 as an official location this year. That means that the 5 mazes in the park plus Soundstage 29, that's a 6 maze lineup there, plus The Walking Dead. So again, I don't think there's much reason to panic here. And then even Murdy also on Twitter kind of toyed at the idea that, hey, websites are silly and, that you shouldn't really believe everything that you see online, which is true. Very true. And obviously here on the channel, we're always speculating. So, but yeah, so I think it's safe to say that the 4 slots we see on the website are maybe just a temporary placeholder. So don't panic, folks. It's all right. By the way, before we move on, if you haven't already, and if you love haunt stuff, subscribe to our channel because we've got a lot more coming your way. Haunt season is really picking up steam, and I'm super excited. Now let's talk about the first officially announced maze of the 2021 season, The Haunting of Hill House. In fact, let's play the trailer.
Or you'll never leave. You're about to enter Hill House. It's coming to Halloween Horror Nights. Never go alone.
Oh my God!
Oh man, what a fantastic choice. Honestly, ever since this first showed up on the HN Nightmares speculation map, which, you guys, you did it again. You did it again. Off to a great start. Ever since I saw it on their first version of their map, I was super stoked because honestly, Hill House is a perfect choice for Halloween Horror Nights. I mean, the ghouls are all there. The location is incredible. And there's a lot of moments, a lot of scary moments in the show that they can pull that can become really awesome moments in a maze. So I'm very, very excited to see what they're going to do with this. So here is what we know about the maze. First of all, it is only going to be The Haunting of Hill House Season 1. So it's not going to feature Bly Manor at all, which honestly, I think Bly Manor would also be a really awesome experience as a maze. So fingers crossed that they use that at some point. Next, we know that this maze is also going to be very heavy in terms of atmosphere and environments, much like 2015's Crimson Peak, which was a beautiful maze. Not the most scary maze in the world, however, gorgeous to look at. And I have a feeling Hill House will kind of be a combination of both. Kind of intense scares with really, really beautiful sets. We also know that there's going to be timeline shifts in the maze, much like in the show. So I wonder if that also means that we're going to visit some other locations that they visited in the series, much like the funeral home. So we'll see what happens there. We also know that at least one background ghost will be featured in a scene, and I'm sure they'll probably be sprinkled throughout. We also have confirmation that the bent neck lady and the bowler hat man, that really tall, creepy guy that floats, will both make an appearance in the maze. In fact, Murdy described the bent neck lady effect as a science project. So what the hell? I'm very curious to see how they do that. Also, unfortunately, they're not going to use any actual props from the series, unlike Us from 2019, where a lot of the scissors, a lot of the jumpsuits were actually screen-used props, which is really cool. So they're not going to do that in Hill House, which, whatever, it's all good. And finally, we also now know that this is going to be a tent maze, not a soundstage maze. So it's not going in soundstage 29, which is kind of a bummer, but it's going to be a tent maze. So that means that it's either going to be one that's behind Curious George or it's the one that's at the Parisian Courtyard. I mean, I guess it's a book, right? It's based on a book. I guess that would make sense. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's definitely a tent maze, which kind of bums me out. I was really hoping that it would be a soundstage maze just because they can get a lot of awesome control of the environment in a soundstage. And also it means they can build sets a little higher. But yeah, we'll see what they do with Hill House in a tent. And finally, to wrap up this episode, I do want to go over the details about Orlando's maze because honestly, Orlando is 100%, 1000% worth a trip. If you've only been to Horror Nights Hollywood, you have to go to Horror Nights Orlando because my God, the things they do out there are truly incredible. I don't want to overhype it, but just know that wow, I was blown away the first year that I went, which is 2018. So very much a newbie, but go check it out. You really want to go check it out. Also, our friends in Orlando were nice enough to share some images from the inside of their maze. So, spoiler alert, if you don't want to have anything spoiled for the Orlando maze, or possibly even for our maze, which typically the coasts are pretty different. But spoiler alert, if you don't want to see any spoilers, we'll see you next week. Be sure and subscribe. But until then, check out these awesome photos. First of all, look at this facade. Jesus. I mean, it's like they took the actual set from the series and brought it into a soundstage. It's a damn replica of it. It looks exactly like it. It looks so menacing with those red lights in the windows. And listen, Orlando does a really good job at building things at a really big scale. I'm pretty sure this is going to be inside of a soundstage, and I'm sure that right when we walk in, we're going to be welcomed by the Hill House at a massive scale. I cannot wait to see this. In Orlando, we're coming for you. We're going to be there, and I'm so excited. Thanks to an article from Orlando, we also know that both coasts are working directly with Netflix in terms of the design of the manor. Hill House in Orlando will be the main character of the experience. The Red Room will be featured, and allegedly the maze is going to be a little different. It's going to be building tension as you go through it, so it maybe won't start as intense right off the bat, which is honestly kind of cool, and I'm excited to see what Orlando and what Hollywood do with this property. So either way, I am super stoked that we finally have an announcement here in Hollywood. We have another announcement for Orlando. Horror Nights is moving ahead full speed on both coasts. I hope we can maintain this path, because damn it, I am ready, and I am so excited for some Horror Nights action in 2021. And well, there you have it. Full details about Horror Nights Hollywood, full details about the maze on both coasts. Like I said, I am super stoked to have all this information out already, to have both coasts confirmed, and also to have Hill House confirmed as well. Super stoked on this property, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. And well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Haunt Line. Once again, if you like haunt stuff, especially SoCal haunt stuff, subscribe, because we've got a lot more coming. Again, events are popping up left and right, and we're going to be sure and keep you up to date with as many of them as we can, and we're going to try and visit as many of them as we can this season as well. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for all the latest haunt news. Visit us on the web for links to all of our stuff. And also download our podcast, which will have new episodes up very, very soon. And until the next time, thank you for calling The Haunt Line.